Hi guys, welcome back to the Mission Empowered podcast with me, your host Emily. I hope you're all having a fabulous day. So I am back with the gorgeous Kayleigh, who was on our who was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, months ago when this goes out. Kayleigh, welcome back to the show. I never called it the show actually.
Thank you so much for having me back.
Oh, I loved it. So if you haven't already, guys, listen to mine and Kay's previous podcast. I called it Golden Girls Coaching because we just covered fucking everything, didn't we? We spoke about so much. So today we have decided to be more specific. So I'll let you do the talking actually, Kay. So we decided on the to talk about most common mistakes in strength training because that is like what you specialize in with your training. So do a little intro, babe, just in case we are got some new listeners, or just do a little intro of like who you are and what your sort of speciality is in coaching.
Okie doke. So my name is Kayleigh, for those of you who don't know. I coach women and I work with a lot of women to gain their confidence in the gym with weightlifting, strength training. Very passionate about strength training, which is what Em was saying our last podcast was about. Yeah, I feel like that's pretty much
So
short and sweet.
short and sweet. Yeah, no, that's perfect. So yeah, when we chatted, like, so although I love strength training and, we're both very much on the same page that we want to push women into that. I also obviously work with a lot of clients who want fat loss and go down that route and habits around fat loss to keep weight off. Whereas you're probably, would you say, more just strength training, like want to get stronger? Where would you say you are?
Yeah, so I do work with some fat loss clients, but the majority of my clients are clients who are looking to get to that next level, I suppose, looking to build up their confidence a lot around their strength training and their weightlifting, because it can be quite scary, can't it? Especially for beginners as well. So yeah, I do work with some fat loss clients, but then I suppose going beyond that, then it's more so focusing on strength gains, muscle mass, looking after our future self as a
Mm-hmm. Love that, Kay. I think maybe at the end, Kay, I didn't ask you this, so this is gonna that's why I'm saying at the end, not now. I don't know if you have any podcasts or books. I've got a couple I can recommend, but maybe at the end of the pod, we'll
Yeah,
just maybe do a little bit of a recommendation of other things that people can go look into. Um,
absolutely.
okay, so training mistakes then. Let's get into it. I will also just say I feel like this is we look very glam when I'm looking at us on the screen now. So
I've
just a
washed
quick
my hair.
your hair looks incredible. Before just to let the ladies listening know, Kayleigh messaged me this morning. She was like, "Oh my god, I've just air wrapped my hair." And I was driving back from the gym, like, shit, I'm gonna have to go and put some makeup on and do my hair nice, because even if you just go back to like last week, you'll see I've got no makeup on, hair's on my head, like, oh no, I was like, right, I'm gonna make an effort. I always feel so much better though when I make an effort.
Oh, I feel so much better. But yeah, don't be fooled because this is like once a month kind
Yeah,
of
you
thing.
look gorgeous. Okay, so we've got 6 points that we've come up with, so we don't want to overwhelm them. We can stick to the plan. Just before we go into point one, I think we should just touch on what we've just both said as like an intro, which is with strength training,
Yeah.
like expectations and timeline.
Hmm.
That was one that we haven't got written down, but I think that is probably a good place to start
Yeah.
with mistakes that people make is, do they think they're gonna sign up to a gym and in 2 months be in a, super strong, super toned within like a really short space of time? Like, what, I know that wasn't on our list, but I think that is a mistake. And I don't know whether you think this, but I know I do, that
Mm.
when I sign up with clients and they're like, right, I'm going to get in the gym, and then we talk about like the timeline, and I'm talking on a 6 to 12 month
Oh, absolutely.
timeline, and they are a bit like, oh, yeah.
No, so when I have consultation calls with potential clients and we're discussing their goals and going through the expectations, like you just said, I always say to try and commit to the journey for 6 to 12 months if that's what you can
Seems.
do.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Your journey should hopefully continue on for the rest of your life beyond that. But if you're working with a coach for 6 to 12 months, you're going to build up a lot of knowledge, you're going to
Yes.
gain a lot of experience, and hopefully you'll be able to take that into your own practice then for the rest of your journey. So I'm the same as you. Yeah, I'd say 6 to 12 months to be realistic.
Yeah, yeah. I'm so glad we covered that because we are very much the same. It's
Yeah,
like, where I know that well, hearing that now, and any of my clients listen to this will know I'm really open and honest that when I do a consultation, I say, look, I'm going to be invested in part of your life for the best part of a year.
yeah,
Like, if you're not coming in with that dedication and commitment, then I'm probably not the coach for you.
yeah,
Because there are coaches out there that will only want to work for you 12 weeks, but trust me, you're not getting a lot with the 12 weeks. I'm going to say it. You are not going to get all of the fundamentals, all of the knowledge, the education, but also the time that you need to
yeah.
get into the gym, and to do all the stuff that we're going to talk about now.
Yeah, when I think habits take such a long time to build as well, and even just across a 3 month period, if you're consistent for 3 months, amazing. But I would say it takes longer than 3 months to say, yeah, this is my new lifestyle now. I would say if you haven't been going to the gym consistently for a year, you're still probably not in a position where if you fall, if you go on holiday or you fall ill, you're not going to have that, I suppose, that motivation to be like, I'm going back because this is just what I do.
Exactly. Or even just to flip what you just said on your head, you just said about having the motivation to go back,
Yeah.
but it's not having the motivation and
Well,
still going back
yeah,
like that
yeah.
because it's just
It's
what you
your
do.
lifestyle. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly
a
that. And I think
hundred
it's the
percent.
understanding of that.
Yeah. So I think the first point we'll make is the first point we'll say that a lot of people go wrong with training
Yeah.
is expectations of timeline and what that looks like. And girls, you need to be invested for a year. And I think as well, like, don't be overwhelmed by that year and be like, oh my God, I've got to go to the gym 5 times a week, every week for like 12 and get that overwhelmed. Like, you just need to make it part of your life for a year and you'll be reaping the benefits and you'll be addicted to that feeling and it will just be part of what you do. So yeah, 12 months to a year. Okay, let's go point one, which was
Food.
food. Food. I love, by the way, if you don't follow Kayleigh, what's your Instagram, Kay? Just say it again for me.
Kayleigh_evolve.
Yeah, you post a lot about your food stuff, don't you? And
Yeah,
like your training and stuff. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so I'll let you go first on this one.
yeah.
So
So
food, not eating enough food.
yeah, I would
Mistake number
say
one.
yeah, I would say this could be maybe broken down into two parts. So, as you just said, if you want to be building strength, and if you want to be going through body recomposition, so dropping fat, building muscle, creating that toned appearance, you need to be eating enough and eating enough protein for that. The second part of that, I would say, is fueling your body around your sessions.
Mhm.
So I've had clients come to me and say, I go first thing, I don't have an appetite in the morning, but I'm finding it like quite tough to get through my sets. I'm not able to push my weights up. And I'll ask them, what have you had to eat before going? And they're like, oh, nothing. I've just knocked back some pre-workout.
Yeah.
And do you know what? There's nothing wrong with having pre-workout if you feel like it's something that you want to have. I wouldn't rely on it and I wouldn't have it every day, but I like to talk about pre-workout in the sense of food. So I would look at pairing some fast acting carbs with some protein before a workout. So even if you're someone who doesn't like to eat breakfast, you can't eat really, really early in the morning, it doesn't need to be anything major. It could be something like a banana, even half a banana with some clear whey, or it could be a bagel with clear whey. What do
Mhm.
you tend to have for yours?
I just had a banana this morning, so I
Yeah,
was like, I'm winning.
yeah,
So for me, I couldn't agree more with you. I always talk about on the pod about like optimal versus real life, and I saw something the other day that I thought was really relative and for us as coaches is that we're quite lucky. Obviously, we work for ourselves, and I know that fueling your body with food before a session, you're gonna get more out of it. So I actually I prefer to train mid morning after breakfast, right?
Got you.
But I have switched it a little bit recently. Like, obviously I'm 9 fucking months pregnant now. Like, going back pre-pregnancy, I did start training in the mornings.
Mhm.
And what was I having? Did I have something like small? Maybe I just had like a protein shake with I bought like these oat bars. They were like 170 calories, like but enough calories and enough to stimulus for carbs to
Yeah.
get me going. But that's what I would have if I was having something pre workout. But I will be honest, I'm one of them people that if I'm in the gym at 6:30 a.m. I'm not I'm not very good at eating before it. I'd prefer not to. So that's why I tend to train late in the morning. So I can have a protein shake and my Weetabix or my toast with peanut butter or something like that. Toast and
Mm.
honey if I'm training. Um
I'm an
yeah.
early trainer. I like to be in
So
the
what
gym
do you eat
before.
then?
So I have a banana and clear whey. That's
Yeah.
what I have before I go. I tend to leave at maybe like 6:45 in the mornings to get to the gym.
Yeah.
I love just getting it done first thing so I can come back, start my day. And yeah, I would say when I first started going really early, like quite a few years ago, I wasn't used to eating that early, and I did have to train myself quite slowly and gradually to get to the
Mhm.
point where my body was used to it, and I was waking up, and then I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm ready for a little bit of a pre-workout meal now.
Mhm.
So to start with, even if you feel overwhelmed with having, a whole banana, you can have half a banana or half
Mhm.
a bagel. You don't have to go right into thinking, I'm going to have all of this now before I go to the gym, and then
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little bit sick. But
Yeah. Rice cakes with a bit of jam on.
yeah, absolutely. Rice cakes are a really good one as well. So
Yeah.
I would say fueling before your session is really, really important. Fueling around your session. So yes, having a little something before you go into the gym if you train in the morning. I would say if you're someone who trains after work, if you're having lunch at 12 o'clock in the office, have a bit of a snack around 3, half 3 before you're then
Mhm.
leaving at 5. And again, it
Mhm.
doesn't have to be anything major. It can be like you just said, rice cakes and a banana
Mhm.
and a
Mhm.
protein shake. And then by the time you get home, you're making your dinner, you're probably eating within, like an hour, 2 hours, aren't you, of
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 100%. For me, definitely, I think you can get out. This is what I was saying. We talk about optimal and then we talk about real life. Like, some people don't have the luxury of, you know, getting up and making something. But that's when you've got to look at, okay, if you haven't got the luxury, like be savvy about it. Can you buy a protein shake, stick it in the fridge and have it on the way to the gym? Like, so you're
Mhm.
having something to give you a little bit of fuel. And you know what? You might have to just what's the word, like just get over yourself and start training yourself to eat before you work out, because you will have a better workout with some fast energy going in there. Like, it's a matter of fact. If you're training after work, oh my gosh, if you're rocking up to the gym and you haven't eaten for 4 hours, you just should be fucked. And then what happens is you'll get into the flow of your workout, you'll be fine. You go home, then you're starving because you've been thinking about training. So you go home, you're starving, your head's in the cereal box, like, and it's just messy.
Yeah.
Eat before you go, 100%. Yeah.
And just going back to that saying as well, if you haven't got the luxury of making something, in the mornings or first thing when you wake up, I don't do that either. So I always, always, always make my pre-workout before I go to bed. So my shake is out, it's ready for me. Yeah, it's in the fridge.
Okay.
My banana's literally laid out on the side ready. Sometimes if I know, like there's some mornings where I'll be in the gym for 6 and do you know the Serene bars, the little like banana loaves?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just pop one of those in my gym bag ready, grab my shake out of the fridge, and I'm ready to go. So
Yes.
yeah, I always think your morning routine, if you are someone who trains first thing, your morning routine starts the night before.
Oh, 1,000,000%. Yeah, I say that as well. Your day starts the night before. Whatever you're doing for that last hour of your day is going to massively impact the following day, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, so um,
I think we should maybe touch on why fueling is important. Just
yeah, go for it. Yeah, I was just going to
yeah.
say, let's touch on that.
Yeah. So one, if you're wanting to build strength, it's not going to happen on 1,200 calories.
Yes,
And I think it's important to establish which phase you are in as well with your
yes,
coach. So if you are, towards the end of a fat loss phase, then you're probably not going to look at wanting to hit a ton of PBs,
Yeah.
really build on that strength. But if you are, keeping up with fueling your body around your training and reaching your protein, your recovery is going to be in a much better place. And your body recomposition will change for the better as well as you go through that fat loss phase, even if you are in a cut phase and you're not aiming for strength. If you're in like a strength building phase or muscle building phase, you are going to be eating a little bit more. And as you're eating a little bit more and you're eating your protein, you're going to be building muscle as well. And again, it's going to help with your overall recovery, keeping you satiated and full throughout the day. So yeah, nutrition and training always goes hand in hand.
100%. And just to touch on as well, like mood, it's so hard. Like everyone's so fixated on fat loss and low calories and diet calories and stuff. That to me is, fat loss is like the unfun part and the boring part. And I know we touched on this on our previous podcast. Like, get your fat loss done, and
Yeah.
then go into the fun part, like where you are. Oh, it's so exciting! You get to eat more food. You look forward to going to the gym because you've got all this energy. You're striving for PBs. Your body is doing things that you didn't know it could do, and then holy shit balls, you look in the mirror and you look better. Like, it's so much more exciting. But like you said, when you're doing fat loss, you're gonna go to the gym, your workouts are not gonna feel the best they've ever felt because you're on lower calories. Like your energy is gonna be a little bit lower. You're gonna find it difficult to hop them PBs. So I think that's why me and Kate again touch on the 6 to 12 month timeline. Is that if you have got fat loss to do, get in, get it done, and get into the strength phase, your building phase, or even your maintenance phase, but
Yeah.
focusing on having enough energy to perform well in the gym.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, fabulous. So, food is fuel, girls. Remember that. That's what we need. So that's number one. Right, number two. Okay, number two on training mistakes is people doing the wrong order of training. So we've broke this down into two parts again. Is from the one that I said. Well, I can't remember if we both said this or not, but the one that I know that I said that a lot of people get wrong is they do cardio before their weights.
Yeah.
So if you've got a strength training session, but then you're doing like 20-30 minutes cardio before you go into your weight session, like you're emptying the tank on
Absolutely, yeah.
pointless cardio.
Yeah, you want to utilize your energy, or I suppose you want to reserve your energy for what is going to be. I've said that in such a complicated way.
Go on.
You want to reserve your energy for what is going to need it the most, and that is going to be your weightlifting.
Of course, yeah. I can't. People still ask the question: should I do cardio first or my strength training? And I don't know. Maybe that's me being like a bit, what's the word, ignorant because of what we do for a job. But I'm like, surely it's obvious, is it not? To stand on a cross trainer or to stand on a stairmaster compared to trying to fucking squat your body weight or deadlift your body weight, which one's going to require more physical energy and more mental energy? If you're sweating your tits off on the cross trainer for half an hour and then you go and try and do it, you're going to struggle more, aren't you?
Well, do you know what? I had a conversation with a client recently about this, and I was questioning the way that she was doing things because I did notice in her program that she had ticked things off in the different order that I'd placed it in. And she did say, "Oh, I just like to get done the things that I don't enjoy first. I just like to get it out the way." So I can understand why some people would probably then think, "Oh, I'll just get my cardio done, or I'll just do that exercise, first."
Good point of
Um,
view. Okay, see,
yeah,
I'd never think of it like that. Yeah.
yeah. So I
Okay,
feel
yeah. So let's be really clear then. Train a mistake. Don't do your cardio before your weights. Your strength training is going to have a more profound positive effect on your health, on your body, on your results than doing 20 minutes on the cardio machine. Go and do your trainings. You can warm up 5 to 6 minutes.
yeah,
I think we speak about warming up, don't we? In a minute, we'll get to that.
yeah,
Yeah, we do. Do your warm up cardio, that's fine. But then preserve that energy and go and smash out your weights
yeah,
and get as much out as you can, and then tag your cardio on at the end. So that was part one of that. Part two, Kay, was order of training, as in the order of
Yeah.
exercises. So we spoke about cardio versus weight. Now we're talking about the order of exercises. So I've written down compound over isolation.
Yeah.
So just before we touch on that, a compound exercise, guys, is using muscle groups, like bigger muscle groups. So for example, your deadlift, like your back squat, your bigger movements you're doing. When we talk about isolation exercises, think of isolating muscles. So your bicep curls, your tricep extension, your leg curls, things that are just using like singular muscle, or maybe just one or two muscles. Compound exercises, the big taxing ones that get your heart rate going.
Yeah.
I always recommend do your compound ones first, followed by isolation. What's your take on that, Kay?
So for the most part, I do agree with that. I do
Yeah,
think, especially if you've got strength goals and you want to be pushing on certain lifts, they're
yeah,
usually going to be your compound lifts. So you want to get your mobility work done, which we're going to speak about in a minute, and then
yeah,
you want to go into your compound lifts because,
mhm,
again, it's going to use most of your energy up doing those lifts.
yeah,
There are a couple of exceptions.
yeah,
I personally think if you're brand new to the gym and you're looking at just building up your confidence, and if there's certain things that you're like, right, okay, no, I'm freaking out a little bit about that, and say now you've
mhm,
just, you've just gone through the gym to get your program done, to get to know the gym floor a little bit. I think if you're really anxious and you're really worried, that's absolutely fine to start with because you're getting yourself through the gym doors.
mhm,
But it will get to the point where you do need to then follow a structured program and follow it in a set order.
mhm.
Another, I suppose, for me, another exception is sometimes I will add in maybe like the abductor machine
I
before.
knew you were gonna say that. This is what I was gonna say for my little caveat thing. Or
Yeah,
sometimes if it, so, yeah. Sorry, babe, I interrupted there, but I was gonna agree with you. Go on, carry on.
I was literally just going to say that's an exception for some clients who are maybe looking to work a specific muscle group and build a specific
Yes.
muscle group for a bit of a pre-exhaust.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I was literally was gonna follow on with that one. For example, couple of examples I would do: abductor machine, which is obviously, well, if you listen to this in your training, you'll know it's to work your glutes. Really good way if you struggle to activate your glutes, which we're going to talk about mind to muscle in a minute. Like Kayleigh was saying, to pre-exhaust, to get the blood going to that muscle group. It's actually something that I tend to do, and did I do it this morning? Actually, yeah, abduction first and then went into like my squat stuff.
Mhm.
Another way you can do it is if you struggle firing through your hamstrings, is doing like a leg curl machine
Yeah.
before you then go into like deadlifts and stuff like that. But I think, like you said, it's for a certain type of certain type of clientele where you've probably been in the gym for a while,
Yeah.
and it's just like used as like a pre-exhaust. So yes, I agree. But for
Mhm.
example, what I think what we're trying to highlight is, if you're training, you don't want to be going in starting off with bicep curls. I mean, obviously, if you're training sessions, arms, but we're talking about big full body. If you've got compound exercises in there, you
Yeah.
don't want to be doing like your bicep curls, your leg extension, your calf raises, and then fucking trying to get a PB on a back squat.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Absolutely.
Um,
I
so
agree with
yeah, order of exercises. If you're with a coach or following a training plan, which you should be, or making your own training plan,
that.
think of the exercises that you want to do the best on and try and put them as early on in your program as possible, so
Yeah.
you're getting the most reward from them.
Yeah. And I think as well, if you are like, there's been clients who have started with me in the past and they've said, oh, does it matter if I, follow the workouts in the order that they are? I think this is just confirming, yes, if you've got a workout program to follow, which we all should, you
Yeah,
need to be following the set order of those exercises.
exactly. And just bringing it back to what I was saying before about optimization versus like real life. We all have been in the gym where your last two exercises maybe need to swap, or you're waiting to get on something. Like, if that's the case as a one off, just crack on with your session as a one off. But in an ideal scenario, you follow your training plan as closely as possible.
I was just about to ask you that. I was just about to ask you, what's your view if, the gym is really busy? Because I bet a load of clients or a lot of people listening to this are wondering, well, my gym's really busy, I never really know what's going to be available. What would you recommend for clients who maybe can't follow everything to the T? Like, I'll
So
let
I'm one of them people, and I guess this comes with confidence in the gym. So some
you.
people will take this on board, some people won't. But I will go up to someone and say, "How many sets have you got left? Would it be okay if I jumped in with you?"
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever had anyone turn around and say no.
Yeah.
Like, you can't jump in with me. Obviously, if it's like on a rack and you're moving different things and stuff, but if it's a pin machine, it happened to me last week. There was me and a guy sharing an abduction machine. It's quite funny actually. And yeah, so like, I would always ask like the gym. I know it's intimidating, but honestly, I think the majority of people are like super friendly and super nice. Like,
I
you just have
agree.
to, ask. Other options are, because yeah, you're right. I have clients who train at 5 p.m. It's absolutely chocker. Is if it's a continuous thing,
Mm-hmm.
then ask your coach or look for maybe an alternative as like a backup. So
Yeah.
that ideally you're using the squat rack, but otherwise your backup could be like a goblet squat or something, which we know isn't as superior as doing a back squat, but you're still not missing out on that particular exercise.
I agree. I'd say the exact same thing. I will sometimes ask if I can jump in. And if you can't do that or you don't quite feel confident enough to do that, I would gain knowledge or ask your coach on what exercises are going to work the same muscle groups. Because
Yeah.
I've had clients in the past say, oh, my workouts are taking me long because I've got to wait 10 minutes for this machine. And I'd be like, no, ask me if you've got any questions,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
exercises you can do instead. Because if you're waiting around 10 minutes to do your next exercise, your workout is not effective.
No, yeah, no, it's not. But yeah, and I do think though, again, it's I've trained at busy times,
Mm.
and this is gonna piss people off, but sorry, my training sessions never extended by 40 minutes because I've been waiting.
Yeah.
Like, use your noggin, fucking ask people, how long have you got left? How long do you spend on a piece of equipment? Let's say you're having a 2 minute break, 2, 4, 6, it's like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. If someone's on something for 15 minutes, like, make them feel uncomfortable, tell them to jog on, ask to jump in because they're messing about too long. Okay, sound. So, what was that on, Kay? What were we talking about then? Is
Order
that still order of training? Right, number 3.
ties in
So
nicely.
ties in nicely, yeah. Sticking to a workout plan. We've both just said it,
Yeah.
but training mistake number 3 is going into the gym willy nilly, seeing what's free.
Mhm.
What do I fancy doing?
Yeah.
No. All that is going to do is suck the motivation out of you, because 6 weeks down the line, you are not going to not only have any physical results to show, but you're going to have no strength results to show. You're literally going to have nothing. And this is what I think with the plan is that for me, this is probably really high up on training mistake, like to not make,
Yeah.
because you are wasting your time. And it makes me so sad that you are putting the energy, effort, and finances into going to a gym,
Mhm.
because you're missing that one thing out. The likelihood is you're going to leave, and
Yeah.
you're going to go, gym doesn't work for me. Went to the gym, didn't do anything. I'm like, oh, it's because you're not getting any benefit from it.
And you're going to feel more anxious as well for
Yeah.
going to the gym without any plan at all. You're going to be looking around, like Em said, wondering what you can use, twiddling your thumbs. Yeah, it's not going to be effective, and you're definitely not going to be building on your strength, building on your fitness levels, building on your confidence by doing that at all.
Yeah, 100%. And so I'll tell you what will tie into this, babe. What we touched on was when we talked about progressive overload.
Yeah.
How do you do progressive overload if you don't have a plan to follow? How do you know what you're progressively getting better at with no plan?
Yeah. And I think you've probably had this as well, where clients have maybe started with you and then after their first week, they've messaged to say, oh, my workouts are the same this week, like, aren't they going to be changing? And I completely understand that you're not going to have knowledge around this kind of thing when you first start a journey. But workouts, I personally say they need to stay the same for 8 to 12 weeks before any changes are made. And like my program has near enough been the same since January this year. So what, that's like 8, 9 months now of
Yeah.
this year.
I hate changing my program.
Because I love seeing my strength go up, and I
Yeah,
love getting, like, I don't know how you can get bored of getting better at something, you know? I do totally
100%.
understand that people do though, and they do need a little bit of a zhuzh up from time to time.
Shush. Yeah,
Yeah, a little zhuzh. And for some clients, what I'll do is I'll keep their strength exercises, the ones that are really building on the same, for
yeah,
maybe like, 4 or 5 months, but
yeah.
I'll use the rest of their program then, so they have
The
that
accessory
movement and
stuff.
they're hitting muscles in different ways. But
Yeah,
yeah, the bulk of your program should stay the same really for 8 to 12 weeks, I would say.
yeah, 100%. And like you just said, the way I coach is very, very similar. Minimum. Okay, so I tend to do my outlook on this is beginner clients, beginner
Yeah.
getting into the gym, probably more towards 8 weeks because they although they probably you need the longest, but it's the boredom thing, and you want to make sure you are motivated. My advice to anyone listening to who is thinking about this, I always ask my clients this question. I say, look, we're at 10 weeks, we're at 12 weeks now of doing this training. These are the questions I want you to think about. How do you feel when you go to the gym? Do you look forward to doing your exercises? Are there any exercises that you feel I still need to work on that? I still want to continue working on that. Are there any exercises that you really dread doing? Because when when you answer them questions, so for example, if you look forward going to the gym, you love your training sessions, you're getting better at them, you still want to work on them, don't change your plan. You don't need to change it. You
Yeah.
really don't. There's no such thing as shocking your body or shocking your muscles into a reaction. Your muscles need memory, repetition.
Hmm.
Yeah, they need chance to adapt. All
Yeah.
of this stuff, why we do the same workouts, that's what increases muscle growth and lean muscle. If there are some exercises at 8 to 12 weeks that I fucking hate that exercise, that's when I would change it, because the likelihood is you're probably not putting as much effort in as an exercise where you're like, oh, love it. Caveat on that point, nobody likes Bulgarian split squats. They're really good for you. Try your best to keep them in or
Yeah.
keep a variation in. So I tend with my clients with Bulgarians is either um Bulgarians obviously on a step with dumbbells, Bulgarians on a Smith machine,
Yeah.
an elevated reverse lunge. Try, you're never getting away from that,
Yeah. I
So
agree.
yeah,
I ask all of my clients the exact same questions, like what are you
yeah,
liking, what are you disliking, what should we still be working on, and I'll review their workouts as
yeah,
you would as well,
yeah,
and let them know my thoughts on that.
yeah.
And I think it's important to note as well, if you are disliking something, are you disliking it because it feels difficult, or are
Yes,
you disliking it because you just really genuinely do dislike it? If you're
yes.
disliking it because it's difficult,
Keep
you need to
going.
keep that in your program.
Yes, yeah, 1,000,000%, yeah. And I think it's sad. I had a conversation with a client, and this made me feel really sad, but also it's to understand our train of thought being coaches, and we are slightly, I would probably say, like abnormal. Like, we love training. Me and you could probably talk for fucking hours on exercises and stuff like that. But I was saying to my clients about, so a big thing that I try and work with a lot of my clients on is pull-ups. I just think it's fantastic. It's empowering as a woman to go on that journey, and banded pull ups. And this client was like, I really hate the exercise, da, da, da. And I'm like, look, just honestly keep going. You just need to build your confidence with it. I know it's uncomfortable and I know it's a struggle, and let's try this and let's try this. And she just was like, I'm not doing them. I don't care. I don't want to do it. I'm not doing it and I won't do it. And just so defeatist, and
Yeah.
it just made me feel really sad. Like, so what you just said is so important, is that, you know, I'm not saying you have to hate every exercise, but having challenging exercises is what's going to keep you going back, because I promise you, challenging exercises are the most rewarding
Yeah,
when you carry on doing them.
definitely.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to think, what would you say your most challenging exercise is?
Mm, I would say maybe a barbell squat.
Right, okay.
Oh, for me personally, you mean?
Yeah,
Oh, for me personally, I would say barbell squats for a lot of clients because
yeah,
fear. Some like a lot of people have fear with barbell squats, don't they? Even with the
yeah.
safety bars up. For myself, oh my gosh, I don't know.
See what I mean? Weird because you like all exercises. Yeah.
Yeah, there's yeah, I don't know. I can't think of a single exercise that I'm like absolutely will not do that. Hate it.
Yeah. I really don't like dumbbell RDLs.
Oh, I love them.
No. I like barbell RDLs. Don't like dumbbell RDLs.
I don't like a barbell overhead press, but that's more so because I have a bad wrist.
That is my favourite exercise.
Yeah,
Shoulders. Loads of my clients are like, don't like training shoulders. I'm like, shoulders is the best body part to train.
I like
Like,
training shoulders. I've got carpal
yeah.
tunnel syndrome in my wrist though, so
Oh, yeah.
yeah, barbell overhead press is a no go.
Right
Dumbbells are fine
position.
because I can
Yeah.
change the wrist positioning, but yeah, barbells are a no go.
I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I like training everything. Do you like training upper or lower better?
Both.
Do you? Oh no,
I think
upper all day,
I,
every
I
day.
think I see more reward with my lower body lifts, but that goes without saying because they're bigger muscle groups, aren't
Bigger
they?
muscle
So
groups, yeah.
yeah,
So we'll go on to carry on the podcast we were talking about, but just for me, when I've had the baby, I'm gonna really focus on training lower
yeah,
because I don't like to. And I think that's from my CrossFit, because obviously I still do CrossFit, don't I? I'm
yeah.
really fucking good at upper body. Pull-ups, well, oh, was really good at upper body. Probably can't do any now. Pull-ups, press-ups, handstand push-ups, overhead, and like, and I feel like that's what a lot of people will relate to, is that when you're writing a program or choosing a program, you pick the pick the stuff that you're good at when
Yeah,
you need to do the stuff that you're not very good at, you know. And I think for me, because I'm quite lower dominant, like not lower dominant, but I'm quite strong naturally.
mhm.
So I think for me, when I train lower, I always know it's going to be so heavy. Everything is fucking so heavy because I'm naturally quite strong in that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
got you.
what do you RDL? Right, we're going to talk about the podcast. Now. I'm just asking you, Kayleigh, questions.
RDL isn't actually one of my strength exercises. I do conventional deadlift,
Yeah.
barbell squats, and bench press as my strength
What
exercise.
is your 1 rep max on RDL? On conventional then, if you don't do RDL,
105 maybe.
is
Not
it?
yeah,
Okay.
not mega
Is
heavy
that for reps or one?
for reps. Do you know what? I've
Yeah.
never tried out my one rep.
Do you
Yeah,
not test your 1 rep max
I
now?
do at the end of my block. So at
Right.
the end of my last block, I was unwell, unfortunately, so I didn't do very well. I know. So at the end of this like 12 week block now, I'll be testing that.
Okay.
Yeah, I want
See
to
what I
get.
mean? That's interesting, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
I actually don't do a lot of 1 rep max stuff with my clients. Do you?
No, I think no. Maybe if we get to the point where we're pretty advanced and
Mhm.
we've gone through different, I suppose, fat loss phases, building phases, and then
Yeah.
the next step then is to really level up training and see where we can get to.
Yeah.
So maybe for a few clients, I work over like an 8 week period, but no, for majority, no.
No. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm just interested. Okay, where are we, honey? So, sticking to a workout plan. Is that where we were up to?
Yeah, mobility and warm up sets now.
Okay, so important to sticking to a plan is so you can body can physically adapt, but also so you're getting the buzz off each time going to the gym and seeing them weights go up and progressing in that.
Yeah,
Okay, mobility and warm up then. This is really important. We touched on this before. You want to prep your body because your strength training. Strength training should be taxing on your body, so you don't want to go in cold. What's the word? What's the opposite of supple? Like tight.
well, you want your joints to be warmed up, you want your muscles to
Yeah,
be
what's
warmed
it?
up.
Stiff. Like, yeah,
Oh,
you don't want to be stiff. You want to be like loosey goosey,
yeah,
ready to go.
yeah, mobile.
Mobile. Mobile. So yeah, mobility then. I program this to my clients. I have a 5 minute walk mobility that I do. You can get one on YouTube, but you can either do, I personally do full body, whether I'm doing legs or upper. I
Yeah.
do a full body mobility because I think it's important just for move and see. What do you do?
A little bit of both, I would say. So, for example, one of my lower body warm ups or mobility might be 30-second ski erg into maybe like a pigeon stretch. So I'm
Yeah.
stretching at my hips into maybe banded dislocations. So yeah,
Yeah.
I suppose I'm doing a bit of everything. But again, if I'm holding a bar on my back,
Bar.
barbell
Yeah.
squat, I need my shoulder mobility to be there. So
Exactly.
yeah, working my overall hips, working my shoulder joints, a bit of everything really. Yeah.
Yeah. And what you want to think about when you're doing mobility is think of the range of movement that you're going to take your body through. So,
Mhm.
for example, if you're going for a barbell back squat and you know that your hips are breaking parallel with your knee, you want to be replicating that in your mobility. You want to be, pushing your hips to full range of movement,
Mhm.
because the last thing you want to do is just do a 5 minute cross trainer warm up where you're not pushing your joints to
Yeah.
that point that they're going to go to in the weight training, because what we're talking about now is obviously prevention of injury.
Yeah.
um that's important. So yeah, I do think mobility is, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people say, I don't have time, I just want to go in and get my session done. You
Exactly.
will get this is why I say 5 minutes. In my head, it's like a dance routine that I do. So I go to my little area, I do 5 minutes, my shoulders, my walk downs for my hips and my hamstrings, pigeon stretch,
Yeah.
lizard stretch, thoracic rotation,
Mhm.
and then maybe some like hip thrusts if I'm doing legs, just to get my glutes activated. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Takes me
Yeah.
like 5 minutes.
Exactly. It takes a few minutes, and I have definitely, had clients and stuff say it takes too long out of my session. I would prefer to remove one
Yes,
exercise from their session and keep mobility in. Your
100%. Yeah,
session will be so much more effective. Like Em said, you'll be preventing injury, which is the most important thing,
yeah,
and you'll be feeling your exercises more for doing it. You'll get more
yeah.
out of the exercise. So yeah, if you're struggling with finding time to do the mobility before your session starts, you need to think about dropping an exercise to be able to fit that in.
Perfect. And if you look into research and stuff as well,
Yeah.
this is research back that you will get more out of your session by prepping your body 5 minutes before to then go into it rather than just going straight in. I also find as well it really helps you get into the headspace of being in the gym.
Oh,
It's like that little connection between outside and workout. Your mobility is increasing body awareness, which I know we're going to talk about in a second, but
mhm.
like increasing body awareness, you're thinking about moving your body. That's your prime thought in that 5 minutes. You then go into your workout. So if you're not, training mistake number 4 is people not doing mobility slash warm up sets versus working sets. So we'll touch on this now. You want to go? You want me to go?
Yeah, I'll go. So
Go. Yeah.
you want to be doing your mobility in the beginning of your session. And then when you go on to, especially your first lift, your
Yeah.
first compound lift, you want to be doing your warm up sets. So, what a lot of people will do, say now you're programmed 8 to 10 reps, 3 sets. What a lot of people will do is they'll start a bit lighter, they'll count that as their first set, and then they'll go heavier for their second, heavier for their third. Whereas that basically means you've only just started fatiguing the muscles and working the muscles at the very last set that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be flipping that. So you want to be thinking, right, I'm going to have a little bit of a tester. Should we go through a bit of an example? Shall I just
Go
use,
for it, babe. Yeah.
I'll go for easy maths. Say now we're going to do 100 kilogram hip thrusts. Easy maths. And you want to work up to 8 to 10 reps, 100 kilogram hip thrusts. Your first warm up set after your mobility would be something around the 60 kilogram mark. You want to do 6 reps. It doesn't need to be anything major. 6 to 8 reps, would you agree? Just going through that full range of motion.
Yeah, I'd probably say, yeah, around like, yeah, 50, 60 weight, 50, 60% of your top set.
Yeah,
I would probably do that, and rep range again. I'll be honest with you, Kay. Like I'd probably just, for me, if I was doing a warm up set, sometimes I do more reps and sometimes I do less. It depends how like my body feels. Like
yeah,
you're learning how to read your body. Do you need a little bit more of a warm up, or actually does it feel really good and you just want to preserve that bit of energy? But warm up sets obviously like go without saying. But yeah,
yeah.
50, 60%, and then just see how your body feels.
see how your body feels. I tend to do 2 warm-up sets. So if you've done, just 60 kg, then
Yeah.
I would have maybe popped up to around the 75
Yeah.
kg, 80 kg mark, then test out the waters, see how it feels,
Yes.
give your body a break. I personally don't log my warm-up sets. And then what I'll do is go in for my first working set. So I'll aim for, say, 8 reps at 100 kg, that gets logged. If you then get to that 8 rep mark, okay, right, for the next time I might not be able to reach that 8 rep mark, drop the weight ever so slightly, drop it by 2.5 to 5 kilograms, and then aim for another 8 to 10 reps. By working the weight up ever so slightly, just by 2 warm-up sets, you're fatiguing the muscles from set 1, and then your workout is going to be far more effective after that. What's your opinion on warm-up sets then as you go through your session?
So same as what you just said, your warm-up sets are, and this ties in with what we said before about your order of workout. Order of workout is that you would do your warm-up sets on your bigger compound moves, but by the time that you get into your isolation, you just go straight in because you're already warm. The clue's in the name. Like your bigger lifts, you're gonna require more time to warm up. As you go through your session, you are warm, so you don't need to be doing a warm-up set on a leg extension. If you're doing a back squat and a leg press in the same session, you might not need to do a warm-up set on the leg press. For me, though, don't know whether this is habit. If that was me, I would probably still do maybe one warm-up set on the leg press, because you've got to look at as well that jump between fucking thin air and where's your first set being. So the bigger weights that you're moving, yes, I would probably put a warm-up set in them.
That's what I do as well.
Yeah. The only thing I'm thinking about here is, the only little small thing is that it's just an example, but I feel like I need to touch on, because I said it before. Pull-ups. So I will always tend to program pull-ups at the beginning of the session, because they're so freaking hard and take so much that you can't warm up set a pull-up. You're going to do some activation, maybe a chin over bar into a negative a couple of times, but you just want to warm up your lats. You don't want to definitely pre-exhaust them. Then do your pull-ups. Then if I was going into like a lat pull down or a row after that, I wouldn't bother doing a warm-up set, because I know that I've warmed them up doing that pull down.
Yeah, the pull-up. Yeah.
Pull-up, sorry. Yeah.
Same as me. So for my upper body days, I do my pull-ups first.
Yeah.
And then I go into my exercise then. But again, I have mixed upper body days, so I don't necessarily do muscle group splits.
Can you hear me?
No, oh yeah, now I can.
Excuse me. Come in, get inside. No, you see. Oh, I just put you on the podcast then. Hi, everybody. Oh, look at him.
Hi. He's about to have a sister.
Isn't he the most gorgeous thing ever? Okay, we're moving on. Right. So yes, warm-up sets. Yes, just what we say, mate. Mixed body days.
So I do mixed upper body. So if I was doing a pull-up to start, and then I was, say, going into an overhead press, that I would do a warm-up set for an overhead press. But if I was doing
different muscle groups.
Yeah. But if I was doing the same muscle group after a pull down, I wouldn't then do warm-up sets.
100%. Yeah. I think we've covered that. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Mistake, mobility, not doing mobility and not doing warm-up sets. Like, again, most common excuse is, I don't have time. Well, you're not making the best progress then, like you said. Let's just quickly, before we go into distraction, exercise selection. We should have touched on this actually before. You don't really want to be, my opinion, you don't really want to be doing more than 6 exercises. You're going to be in the gym for fucking ages.
Yeah. And especially if you are someone who is tight fit. This is just person dependent. I've got clients who are shift workers, and they go at the end of their shifts, and they might only have time for 4 exercises on the way home. I've got clients who do muscle group splits, clients who don't have muscle group splits, and they do full body. And that's maybe going to be a little bit different. If you're training 3 full body times a week, but then you're doing 5 training days of muscle group splits a week, those full body days might have a little bit more to them than the 5 muscle group split days. It really depends, on how much time people have, isn't it? But yeah,
Yeah.
I would say mobility is important, and if you're finding it hard to find time for the mobility and warm up sets, you need to take something out of your program to make that work.
Something like your program. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Okay, so two more. Number five, it was just distractions in the gym.
On your phone.
Yeah, exactly. So I was going to tell Kayleigh this before we start, and I was like, no, let's record and I'll tell the story. When you're in the gym, when I was in the gym yesterday or Monday, whenever it was, I was sat next to a person there was me on the leg curl, this person was on the leg extension, like literally next to me. And it just really highlighted to me there are two types of people in the gym. So I was there. I'm not saying I don't go on my phone, between sets or whatever, but when it's time to work, my phone went on the floor. I
Mm.
get myself ready. My hands are braced. I think about my breathing, and then going into the set. And I'm counting my reps. I'm thinking about my muscles. I'm doing my pause. I'm going through it. The person next to me sat on their phone, flicking the leg extension up.
No.
Like there was no way that they were counting. They weren't thinking about the exercise. They literally were just doing it. Now, listen, I don't want people to think, oh, Em's judging. No, I'm not. I'm highlighting.
Yeah.
That is the type of person that is not going to be seeing results or is going to say, I went to the gym, doesn't really do anything for me. I don't care whether it's a rest week, a deload week, being in the gym, if you're exercising while looking at Instagram on your phone,
Mm.
trust me, you are not going to get to where you want to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Do you know what? I haven't really seen anyone do that in my gym. Maybe a
Oh my
couple of
God.
years ago in a different gym, but yeah, you definitely are not having an effective workout. If you're scrolling whilst you're doing an exercise, you can't possibly be thinking about the mind to muscle connection. You can't
Mm-hmm.
be thinking about your form and the amount of reps that you're doing as well. I got into a pretty bad habit a couple of years ago when I would take my personal phone and my work phone to the gym with me. Yeah. And this was a rookie mistake on my behalf. And then I just started, answering like client messages and stuff in between my sets. Yeah. And then it got to the point where I just felt like I was taking like too many minutes rest in between my sets as well. So that stopped. And, it got to the point where I had my working hours sorted. But I would say even if you are someone who is scrolling in between your sets and your exercises, take note of how much rest you're taking, because even if you're not scrolling during your exercise itself, scrolling in between all of your exercises and your sets it can impact your workout overall, and before you know it, you've taken like 5 minutes rest in between all of your sets.
Exactly, 100%. For me, this is what I say to my clients. So I actually don't even train with music now.
I
I
don't really either.
Yeah, I just
My
listen
gym
to
is
whatever the
really
gym's
loud.
playing.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
gym is really loud music.
because again, I was finding I was getting very reliant on my fucking song was playing. Oh, I don't like this song.
Mm.
Don't like this song. Do you know what I actually do, Kay? Sometimes I go into the gym with my headphones on and don't play anything. And just
Block out the world,
block
have
out the
your
world. Yeah.
yeah,
And by
yeah,
the time, so if you're giving yourself, anywhere between 1 to 3 minutes break between your working sets, by the time that you have got your logbook, wrote your set down, had a drink of water, thought about what you're going to do your next set, it should be time to go.
yeah,
Like I think people underestimate a quick look on Instagram, a quick read of a message, a quick voice note, you
yeah,
know, all of these things
definitely.
that just add up. But also for me, you're in the gym for a purpose. That hour in the gym should be focused on your health, your mental well-being, your performance, you know, block it out. If you were in a work meeting with your manager and they were talking about your developing career, would you stop every 3 minutes to scroll Instagram? Would you reply to a message? You wouldn't. You probably wouldn't even take your phone into the meeting with you, because you would be so focused on that. This is what the gym should be. It's
Yeah,
an in and out job, you know.
interesting you say that as well, because I did a check-in with a client this week, and she hasn't really been enjoying the gym so much recently because she's got so much going on, in her personal life and her career. And I just reframed it to her and I said, the gym is the time that you get quality time with yourself.
Yeah.
So you go in there, you don't have to think about anything else. It's the hour that you give yourself, what, 3, 4 times a week, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's your time to just focus on nothing but bettering
Yeah.
yourself and
Yeah.
bettering your health. And she came back and she was like, that put everything into perspective and it really helped. And I
Yeah.
think people do forget that going to the gym, it's an amazing thing. You're doing something so good for yourself.
So
So
powerful.
don't
Yeah.
take away from that by getting lost scrolling
Oh,
when so many of us are scrolling for hours throughout our day
day
anyway.
anyway. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 100%. Like, owe it to yourself to do that. The
Mm,
same, I think another like little thing that I said to a client, I said, she said sessions were taking her an hour and a half, and I programmed them, and I know they should have been taking it under an hour. And I said, do you take your phone in? And she said, oh, yeah, yeah, I do, yeah. Sometimes I'm probably, a bit guilty of being on it. But she used to go to yoga twice a week as well. And I said, do you take your phone into your yoga class? She said, no. I said, well, what is the difference? You
yeah,
go into yoga for you go into the gym for you. Yet, when you're in the gym and you're scrolling, it's like taking a piece of what you're trying to give to yourself and giving it to the world. It's
yeah,
sad, isn't it? Yeah. And
yeah.
we say that about morning routine, which we won't talk about now. But yeah,
What
so either, go on.
I would recommend, like, because I know, like, for the app I use, clients take their phone into the gym to be able to log their workout, see the amount of weight that they're
Yeah.
lifting. So I don't think there's anything wrong with taking your phone into the gym, but maybe just pop it on aeroplane mode. If you're someone who scrolls quite a lot, get your workout up before you go in the gym so you know what you're doing and it's there ready for you. And even if you can't log it because you're on airplane mode, just make a note, even in your
Hmm.
notes on your phone, or you can input, the weights without saving it, and then just press save when you're on the way out of the gym when you've put it off airplane mode. That's what I do now.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I mean. I know people use their phone for music and stuff, but
Mhm.
it's just turning off notifications or
Yeah,
like you said, putting on airplane mode or something. I have because I with the Apple, I know we use similar app, so logging it on your app. But what I say to my clients as well, from another distraction point of view, get a logbook,
yeah,
£5 off Amazon, written down.
mhm,
Your focus is on that. That's what I use. I use a logbook, and then it takes 2 seconds, transfer your weights over
yeah,
so
very
your
true.
coach can say.
Yeah,
But yeah, distraction, using your phone, actually focusing on your sessions. A really common mistake I think people make, and we touched on this before, is mind to muscle connection.
mm,
Thinking about what muscle am I using in this exercise. Yeah, if you are thinking about other things or being distracted on your phone, you're not thinking about, oh my god, I really want to feel my glutes on this, or I really want to, my coach, because I know we both do like form check and stuff, but let's say like Em's told me to shift my weight into my heels ever so slightly. How are you thinking about that if you're thinking about something else? So I say to my clients
yeah,
all the time, what are you thinking about when you're in the gym?
yeah. And you know what? When you're in the gym as well, you want to be focused on what you're doing, like you said. And if you're on your phone and you're scrolling, I had a friend tell me before, oh, I went to the gym today and I'm beating myself up now because when I was there, like, she started having an argument with her boyfriend across WhatsApp and then she left the gym. Whereas,
Oh,
yeah, whereas if you're in the gym and you're not, scrolling, you're not messaging, you're not getting into those kind of distractions when you're there, you're still going to be able to have that hour to focus to yourself and everything else can just wait. Everything
wait.
else can wait 1 hour.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, last one then, babes.
I think we could like covered a little bit of this in the last one as well. You're resting between your sets.
Yeah, did we?
Well, we just said pretty much you want to make sure that you're not resting for a ridiculous amount of time.
Yeah, yeah. So on the scale of that, then rest between sets, I've put optimal exercise amount. Don't know why I've written that. Doesn't make sense, does it? But rest for me is something I'm always saying to clients, is making sure that you have enough rest is a good indication if you're lifting heavy.
Yeah,
If you finish your set and are ready to go, or you're waiting to go, so rather than ready to go, if you finish your set and go, right, Em told me to have 60 seconds break, 3, 2, that's about 6 minutes,
Fiddling
let's
your
go.
thumbs.
Like, yeah, if you're that's a key indicator that that set that you've just done wasn't hard enough.
Yeah.
Ideally, you have your timed, you don't need to time it, but you can time it. But you should be thinking, oh God, I've got about 15 seconds and I need to go again. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Like that sort of, not necessarily dreading the exercise, but you should feel like this exercise is probably going to feel quite tough
Mhm.
rather than, well, I'm just going to do another 12 like I did on the last set. That is a key indication that you're probably not lifting heavy enough.
Yeah, I agree. If you're just kind of like putting the weights down, not even a slight bit out of breath, looking
Yeah,
around, playing with, your thumbs, I suppose, like just not even feeling what you've just done, like Em just said, yeah, that is an indication that you're not lifting
yeah.
heavy enough, and you're not pushing yourself or training with intention when you are doing that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, you don't need to time your rests. I'm a firm believer of this as well, because
Mm-hmm.
you need to use your own intuition with how your body is feeling, and you need to learn when it's time to go and when you still need to rest a little bit longer. If
Yeah,
you're getting into your sessions and you're not quite sure how much you need to rest, you're kind of learning your limits, I would say popping a timer on for like 60 seconds. There's nothing
yeah.
wrong with that whilst you're getting to learn everything. But when you get to a certain point in your journey, like I never ever time my rests.
No,
I
I didn't, man.
pop the weight down, see how I feel. For my bigger lifts, my strength lifts, I may take like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, but then for
The only lift I time, and I said this before, is deadlifts because I fucking hate doing them. So I'll put off for ages to do them. So sometimes I time them to make me do it, but the rest time is like I give myself between 2 and 3 minutes.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
same here. So I tend to give 3 minutes for like my big lifts, like my squats, my deadlifts, my bench, and then for my isolations on my machines, maybe like a minute.
minute. Yeah. Same. Do you know what I tend to do? This is a really good hack actually for steps. I get off the machine
Yeah,
and I walk off, across the gym, walk
yeah,
back, have a drink, get on, go. I know that that's about a minute, and I know that I'm getting some steps in as
exactly.
well.
Time. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
got some clients who do that as well. It is a good way of getting your steps in.
yeah. But yeah, rest times. Then again, I think just a common mistake people make is too little or too long, and actually, Kay, you hit a really good point. It's learning that intuition of, well, how do I know if I've had how do I know if I've had enough? Is like, well, you'll finish your set. You'll definitely need that like first 30, 40 seconds to actually recover. And then you should be like, okay, I'm ready to go again.
Yeah.
Like there is no, oh, I need to wait for another minute or I need to do this. Like, yeah. And I think we've tied that in really well with doing where we said about we talk about effort. I feel like we did touch on effort, didn't we? But basically, putting enough effort in is that you will just know because it
Mhm.
will peak at the last rep. You'll really struggle to get it out, and then you'll have that little recover, and then you'll be like, okay, I can go again now.
Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
definitely.
Okay, so they are the 6 points, and we've nailed it on an hour.
Oh,
Didn't know it was going to be this long, but it's fine. Is there anything else, babe, really hot on your head that as we've been talking that you think this is a really common mistake that people need to know about?
No, I don't think I have. I would just say if you are someone who's quite new to go into the gym or new to your program, don't feel overwhelmed by all of these. Just
Yeah.
take it step by step, break it down for yourself, make some notes, get yourself through those gym doors and get yourself confident with being in the gym first, and then you
Mhm.
can start applying the tips.
Yeah, I said that to my client the other day. She this is an prime of what we're talking about. We've literally just got her into the gym strength training, starting her strength training journey. She's got to have an emergency like operation, very very surface level, but they've told her don't do any heavy lifting. She was like, so what should I do? Should I go back to home workouts? And I said to her, no. I said, we're going to get you to go to the gym. You're going to stretch, do
Yeah,
steps here, and then you're
yeah,
going to leave. Because the very first step of strength training is building that habit of going through the gym doors. That is what I'm
yeah.
guessing you probably say a lot to your clients because you say it quite a lot. But that's for me is like the first, 2 months. I honestly am not really bothered about the weights that you're lifting. You don't have to do all the things that we've just covered. I am bothered that you tell me I have been in the gym consistently.
Yeah.
And then we can develop into form, into strength, into all these bits and bobs. But yeah, if you are, if you are into the gym and you have been going longer than 6 to 12 months, these things that we've highlighted today are probably just going to help you go that extra little bit further to go, yes, okay, I'll do that. Or I was doing that and now I'll change that. So just before we say bye, Kay, is there any books, podcasts, anyone to follow that you'd probably recommend that give out quite good information?
Oh my gosh, I read so many books. I've got a whole list. Do you maybe put notes on your podcasts?
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah, we'll put them in the notes.
Yeah, I'll pop you across a list and you can pop it in the notes.
Awesome. Okay, we'll do that then. All right. Well, babe, thank you so much for giving us your time. Really, really appreciate it. It's always amazing to chat to you. Next time we do a podcast, which we'll definitely bring you on again, I will be a mom.
How
I
exciting!
wonder if this goes out, the baby will be here, because that's what I'm trying to do, is trying to backlog them, but we'll see. But yeah, so if anyone wants to follow you, just say your Instagram one more time.
It's Kayleigh_evolve.
Kayleigh_evolve, and I am at _em.powered. Guys, as always, thank you for listening, giving us your time today. We really appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you do have any questions, please feel free to drop me or Kay a question. If you want to hear us talk about anything else on upcoming episodes, again, just drop us a little message. And if you loved it, share it on your socials, tag us both so we can see. All right, so thanks again. And Kayleigh, I will speak to you soon. Thanks, everyone. Love you. Bye.